What's up friends, it's your boy Durosai back again with another Ableton tutorial. This time talking about how to make a simple deep tech / minimal house FM bassline in Operator. So I'm going to be making more of these type of videos, like showcasing different styles and techniques and approaches for like this sort of thing, like bassline, synths, and stuff for minimal house, deep tech, and techno. So if you want to be notified about that, subscribe to the channel, just hit that subscribe button, like the video, support the channel, and yada yada yada, you know what to do. So yeah, let's get into it. Okie doke, so let me play back what I'm about to show you. I'll just play it from halfway through the break. Alright, so that is the groove we got going on. So let me show you what bass I am using. So I'm using just Operator, like I said, and I have a couple different layers, you know, this sub bass layer, this like FM bass, and then this click bass. So sub bass, obviously it's just sub bass, and what I'm using here is literally just a sine wave. I've been doing that a lot recently for like minimal tracks like micro house and deep tech, just because, you know, it's literally the cleanest bass line you can use, like the most minimal bass line, because there's no harmonics. So, you know, it frees up a lot of space to do some interesting stuff in like the low mids and mid bass area, which I'll, you know, get into. So yeah, it's just a sine wave with this sort of envelope, then running that through saturator on a medium curve, this much, just about 3 dB of drive, just to fatten it up a little bit. And then I have it, of course, sidechained to the kick and to the FM bass, which I'll get to now. So the FM bass is literally just the same MIDI pattern as this. So this is a sine wave sub bass, and then we got the FM bass. So all I'm doing here is I'm actually just taking out notes that I don't want. So all these like in between sections I'm taking out, so it's just playing like intermittently. And all I'm doing here is I'm just modulating the level of this oscillator. So I'm keeping the sine wave, and then I have the second oscillator, which is also a sine wave, and I'm just automating that. So if I go into the automation chain, or the automation lane, we can see what I'm doing here. So it just adds like a little bit of variation and movement. So if I turn this off, or if I have this on like negative infinity, it's just going to sound like a sine wave. But with this, you know, it's creating this sort of the traditional FM, like kind of metallic-y, weird bass sound. And then, you know, I'm just like, for some notes, having the second oscillator level too high just sounds weird. Like, for example, if I go here and just make it like that, you know, it's sometimes a little bit like this upper note just sounds like too forward if this oscillator is really high. So that's why I have it like down here, and then it just kind of slopes up for this lower note so it can be heard more. And so I have that also running through saturator, and then I have that going into EQ. So there's actually a reason why I have it going through saturator first before doing the high pass, is because I want to saturate those like low frequencies. Because if I turn this off, let me turn off like this as well, or actually I'll just turn off all these plugins and we can slowly turn them on one by one. So that's what it sounds like with nothing, or with just the saturator. You got all this like sub bass and all that. So yeah, I'm high passing it after, just so I want the saturator to actually saturate those low frequencies. That's how you get these like really rich, nice harmonics. So yeah, doing the high pass, This is just a compressor just to take care of some of the peaks, just soften the peaks, because it does have a pretty like sharp transient. You know, this bass actually was taking up quite a lot of headroom, so I had to like compress it. That's why we have a pretty short attack, kind of acting like a limiter almost. And we have this compressor, which is just sidechaining to the kick, and then we're running that through an amp. Let me just play it with everything, or I can just play with this with the sub bass. See, I'm running that through an amp. I have it set pretty low, just like 5%. You know, I just want like just some of the like subtlety and like distortion coming from the amp. The main thing I'm using for getting like the bite is this plugin called Head Crusher. This is a free plugin, or at least I have the free version. And I mean, I use this a lot just to add like grit and some bite and texture. I love this thing. Just adds like that top end grit, like I said. I can't think of a better word. Turn that on. And then I got that running through another high pass just because, you know, I'm putting this through distortion again, so you're gonna get more like low frequencies. So I'm just high passing that. And then also doing a little bit of a cut in like this low mid section just because it's a little bit muddy. And then got that going into a reverb and delay. So just delay, just simple Ableton echo, filtering out like these lows and some of the highs out. So it's just kind of band passed. And then, you know, Valhalla reverb on here. Pretty short reverb. I really want this to be more of just adding like presence to the bass, because you know you don't want these like, it's still a pretty low frequency, so you don't want a very long huge reverb that's going to sound pretty muddy. So that's why I have a short reverb, just 0.7 seconds, just kind of giving like this ambience to it, a little bit of stereo width. And then I have it going to, I have like a click bass, which again is like the same notes, but now I'm turning off different notes. I'm actually turning off the ones that are in this FM bass, because the FM bass, if you heard, already has like a click to it. It's got a little attack. It's got like that little top end click. So I'm just adding that click to all these sub bass sine wave notes that don't have the FM playing. So, you know, the reason I do that, or we can just listen to this. It's very subtle, but the reason I do that is just to add some groove to the bass line, you know, so that the bass line acts a little bit more like a percussion instrument or like a tom, so it contributes more to the groove, because it's a little bit more in that audible, you know, frequency range. So yeah, it's pretty subtle, but you know, it's just adding like that high frequency element to this whole bass chain. And yeah, that's it for the bass. Pretty simple stuff. I also have these toms over here. Can't forget your toms. Toms are important. It's just like kind of these I don't know what kind of toms these would be. Just weird, like kind of ethnic toms, you could say. But if you haven't checked out my video on adding groove to your bass line with toms, do that. I'll put a little thing up top, because I go into more detail about layering different bass lines and toms just to add a lot more rhythm to your low frequencies. But that's pretty much what I'm doing here. I've tuned these so that they're in key. So they just kind of they just emphasize those first notes. They play along with the bass line. So yeah, that's what they're doing. Just kind of emphasizing those notes, adding a little bit more groove. But yeah, that's the little simple FM bass. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Give me some feedback. Let me know what I could do differently. If you got more ideas, tell me in the comments section. And I hope you have a great day. Peace out.